Okay, everybody, so today we're going to do one of my favorite topics in the world, algebra. Now, in this case, we're doing simple algebra because we're just using values for each of these letters. We're going to substitute into our expressions. So in this case, if n equals -3, b equals 7, and k equals -6, find the value of, and we have two separate expressions. 3 times 17 minus the value of n, and then 5 times the value of k times the value of b. Now remember, if the letters are pushed next to each other, these means that we're multiplying. We're not dividing or anything else like that, and we're not adding them. Nor are we just substituting in to get 5, -6, 7. Because sometimes people make that mistake of just writing the numbers over and then just substituting them in and then making this 5, -6, 7... Sorry, 5 -6, 7, which then we get the -567. It's not that. This shows multiplication. So first things first, I'm going to substitute in. So we'll start here on this side. This gets me 3 times 17 minus. Now I'm going to substitute what n was. In this case, n was going to be a -3. So I'm going to put that in parentheses here. And then I'm going to put the other parentheses here. Now, you can change these brackets. You don't have to. This is still mathematically completely correct. Now I'm going to do my keep, add, opposite inside. So my 17 remains the same. Then we're going to get an addition of 3. So negative and a negative becomes a +3. But we're still multiplying that times 3. Then this gets us 3 times 20, which is equal to 60. I'm going to put it here because there's another question below this. I don't want to give up the space. Now the next one, 5kb. So I'm going to keep my 5. I'm now going to put parentheses in. My k was -6. And my b was 7. Now, I'm going to go straight across and do order of operations here. 5 times a -6 gets me a -30. And I'm just going to bring down that times 7 to it. Then -30 times 7. In this case, we're going to have a negative for our answer. 3 times 7 is 21, and we put that 0 on because we had the 0 here. This would give us -210. All right. Now for what you would see on a test. Now this is going to be one of your construct responses. Now we're going to do this with a much longer piece. Now, don't panic. It's one of my favorite things to tell people is don't panic, because you're not going to try and do this all in one shot. First things first. We're going to substitute the parts that we know. We're going to just write them underneath it. So that n we said was -3. The b and the n. The b was a 7. We're going to multiply that times an n, which is -3. Then here we have the b, which we said was 7. And then the k, which we have is -6. Now, I'm going to bring everything else back down that was already written there. So, -3 times 4 minus, and the parentheses. Now, I'm going to have to clean this up a little bit, so I'm going to put my parentheses around. Let me just clear that up for you, because I'm focusing on my fingers more than anything else. Okay. Now, 7 times -3 over the 21. We're going to keep that minus sign in there as well. Then we're going to add, we have a parentheses. 4 times 7, bring down the subtraction, and then 2 times the -6. All right? This way I don't miss anything. Now I'm going to worry about regular, everyday old PEMDAS. So let's worry about these parentheses first. This gets us 4 plus 3, because keep, add, opposite. which gives us, in this case, 7. So So now I'm going to go ahead and copy everything else over. You're allowed to do your work this way to show you're doing each individual piece. Negative 3 times 7 minus 7 times negative 3 over 21 plus 4 times 7 minus 2 times negative 6 and your other parentheses. Now, if you want to change these other parentheses to brackets just by going like this, you are more than welcome to. All right. So now I'm done here. Now I got to worry about the implied parentheses here because I want to make sure that I don't miss that. So 7 times negative 3 here gets me negative 21. And then we just get everything else copied back over 21. Then negative 3 times 7 minus plus 4 times 7 minus 2 times negative 6. Now I'm going to worry about the last set of parentheses. I'm going to do both of these pieces at once. So 4 times 7 is 28. Now again, I'm going to leave this subtraction alone. I'm only worrying about that 2 and the negative 6. 2 times negative 6 is going to give me negative 12. But I'm going to go ahead and bring down that subtraction. And now I'm going to have to put parentheses around it to wall off that negative 12. All right. Now, I'm going to put my brackets back around it. I'm actually going to go ahead and solve this all in one piece here because these are the parts. I'll just do the work here for this. This gets me 28 plus 12, which gets us 40. So now that bracket's out of the way. I don't need to put anything around it. And I'm going to bring everything else down here. Negative 3 times 7 minus a negative 21 over 21 plus 1. All right, so now I'm going to do my multiplication and division. I'm going to do both of these steps in one shot. This gets us negative 21 minus, now negative divided by a negative gives me a negative. 21 divided by 1 gets me a negative 1. Should have brought this as that. This gets me a negative 1. I'm going to wall that off with parentheses. And we're just bringing down the plus 40. Keep add opposite. So negative 21 plus 1, which gets us negative is largest. We get negative 20. We're going to bring down the plus 40 here, plus 40 here. Negative 20 plus 40. 40 has the greater absolute value. So we're going to keep it. We're going to have a positive. Now 40 minus 20 is 20. All right. So that's order of operations. Again, don't worry about bigger things. They will get chunked up into smaller pieces. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you in class tomorrow.